On this show, we're going to talk about the Age of Enlightenment, which was a philosophy of intellectuals which gathered around and came up with thoughts of freedom. These are freedom men, okay? These are free thinkers, which inspired the American Revolution. Without the Age of Enlightenment, there would be no American Revolution. This is a movement that happened in America in the 17th century and also Europe in the 17th century. Okay? Now, the Age of Enlightenment were common men like me and you. Okay? They got together in coffee shops, bars, the saloons back then, coffee shops, tea shops, bookstores, anything. They sat down and came up with a philosophy, an intellectual philosophy of free thinking that opposed the monarchies, okay, and opposed the religions trying to control them, okay. It opposed oppression, it opposed dogma, it opposed every type of control that was happening to human beings in the 17th century, such as monarchy, religious dogma, okay, socialism and communism. The Age of Enlightenment challenged and opposed all these views to create freedom. These were free thinkers, free men, and they were willing to fight and die for something so that the masses of people could enjoy their intellectual philosophy of freedom, okay? Without the Age of Enlightenment, okay, America wouldn't exist in this country state today, okay? We're going to talk about a little bit about the Age of Enlightenment. It's basically, they met in scientific lodges, okay? They printed books and they printed pamphlets, just like, Thomas Paine printed a book called Common Sense and created a pamphlet, a booklet of stating why you should oppose monarchy, why you should oppose big government and think for yourself and be free, be a freedom man. Don't just go with the flow and live on your knees when you can stand up like a man on your feet and live free instead of being controlled, okay? When Thomas Paine wrote Common Sense, the common sense got out to the people. They started questioning, why we letting the king of Britain, just King George III at the time, control us? Why are we letting this guy control us and his army of tyrants, the redcoats? Okay, why are we letting the British Empire control us, especially when we have no representation? How could they tax us if we have no elected representatives in the Parliament, in Congress? That's what inspired the American Revolution, the Age of Enlightenment, and no taxation without representation. You understand? These views of these freedom men that got together in these saloons, these bars, these coffee shops, okay? Intellectuals sat down and challenged these fixed dogmas, challenged these monarchies, okay? And this is the age of scientific revolution also, okay? These were ideas, okay? Challenging authority, okay? This is a movement that inspired logic, okay? Reasoning, okay? Good sense, judgment, all right? And it also, which did a very good thing, it separated religion from government. They can't force you to be something that you don't agree with or don't believe in. That's secularism Secularism is what the age of Enlightenment brought. It's the separation of church and state. The government cannot force you to believe in something that you don't believe in. These philosophies came from the age of Enlightenment. Okay, when Benjamin Franklin went to France on his trips to France, he would talk to these intellectuals from France, these free thinkers, these men that stand up to authority, these men that stand up to tyrants, stand up to socialists, stand up to communists. Benjamin Franklin politicked with these great philosophers from France, okay, and got ideas from the age of Enlightenment and brought it back to colonial America. Okay? Benjamin Franklin was a smart patriot and applied these principles into our great government in our great country. The age of Enlightenment philosophy. Okay? I mean, this is a great era. Real great era. Okay? And it taught, the age of Enlightenment taught about toleration, okay? Toleration is being tolerant with somebody else's views. You know, my view might oppose your view, and your view might oppose my view. But that doesn't mean that we can't get along. That doesn't mean we have to inflict harm on one another because we have opposing views. Toleration is a form of freedom, okay? Age of Enlightenment talked about unity, okay? Talked about solidarity, okay? And also teach fraternity, brotherhood, okay? Not divide and conquer, not you against me. It taught brotherhood, okay? Separated church from state, we already went over that, okay? And it also taught an advanced knowledge of freedom and liberty. It taught a man should do what a man wants to do. Okay? Liberty. Okay? It also taught the ideas of reason and logic. Okay? And this movement dominated the ideas of the 17th and 18th century, okay? The late 17th century and the 18th century, okay? Now, they tell you this is just a movement that came about in the 18th century. That's wrong. This is an underground movement, okay, of intellectuals that wanted to instill freedom in people, instead of being controlled by monarchy and religious dogmas and big government, okay? In segment 2 of the show, we'll talk about the men of the age of Enlightenment, all right? Get back to me on the other show. I'll politic with you on the other show. I'm out.